there was a chance that he would come to his senses and not to make the decision that he announced this past week.
Why did you think that?
It made sense for the country. All he had to do under the terms of the Paris Agreement was change the commitments. They're voluntary, and each country can determine its own commitments. So I thought it made sense, and I thought that he would come to his senses on it, but he didn't. I think it was reckless. I think it was indefensible. It undermines America's standing in the world. It threatens the ability of humanity to solve the climate crisis in time. The decision was a terribly mistaken decision. But in the aftermath of that decision, we need to move forward regardless of what he decides.
Oh, Al. Oh, Al. Whatever happened to Al? Why did Al concede? It's just, can you imagine what century we would be in if Al Gore had been president back in 2000? Can you just imagine? Can you? I doubt we would have invaded Iraq. Just saying. Don't think we would have had a problem with refugees fleeing war-torn zones. Don't think we would have had a problem with, a million guys coming home with PTSD, which, by the way, is what happened in Orlando today. And of course, you're not hearing anything about Orlando today, but there was a mass shooting in Orlando today. And because it was so close to the anniversary of the Pulse nightclub, debacle, that whole attack on the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, people this morning thought, oh no. But it turned out that 5 people at a business near Orlando were fatally shot by a former employee who went through a warehouse, singling out victims and then killing himself. All 5 of the victims were employees of Fiamma, which is a company that makes awnings and accessories for recreational vehicles. 4 of them, 3 men and a woman, were found dead when the deputies arrived. A 5th person was transported to a hospital where he died. The man's name is John Robert Newman. 45. He had been fired from his job at Fiamma in April, and then he went ahead and shot and killed himself by the time law enforcement arrived. He had a semi-automatic handgun, he had a large hunting knife, and reloaded the gun at least once. The relationship between him and the victims were not immediately clear. Some of them had been his co-workers, the sheriff said, but he said that Mr. Newman was singling out individuals and that the shootings took place at different sites throughout the building. And at one point he told a woman who was a temporary employee who had walked in on the shooting to get out. Nobody knows why he chose today, but they think that he was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Turns out he was a veteran. That he did lose his job in April, and that this was a disgruntled employee who was, suffering from PTSD, who went and shot his place up. Now, where is that news? Why is that not everywhere? Because his last name is Newman. That's why. I'm surprised Trump didn't tweet out something about, terrorism before he knew anything about it. But somebody must have told the president, not to panic on Twitter right now. It's just very, very sad, I have to say. David in Fullerton, California.
Hi, Randy. First-time caller here.
Oh, hi.
Thanks for taking my call. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Actually, I was calling about that shooting. I couldn't believe I didn't see it anywhere on any news outlets except for, oddly enough, Fox News was the only one that I saw was broadcasting that news. I was on CNN. I was on MSNBC. Nobody was broadcasting it. I couldn't believe it.
I saw it this morning live. I mean, I saw it while it was unfolding. It came off as breaking news, and then they started
saying... But then, they didn't really, they didn't continue the coverage like they usually do. They went on to talk about Porsches on CNN. It was kind of bizarre.
Right, because the guy's last name is Newman.
Yeah, and I looked it up. The Orlando Sentinel posted his mugshot. He's, exactly what you think he's going to look like, bald, white guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of crazy. Yeah, and then that in light of, I know you just mentioned his tweet where he said, I have it up here, do you notice we are not... or Trump's tweet, do you notice we're not having a gun debate right now? That's because they use knives into trucks. And this would be a great opportunity to have that gun debate. I think this might be the first mass shooting under his presidency in America, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I doubt it. We have.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to keep track. But...
Yeah, really. What time is it? Well, we'll have another one.
I know, right?
Yeah, they don't get reported unless somebody is, darker skinned. And then all of a sudden, oh, my God, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah, this was 5 people. I mean, London was 7. They're both terrible, but you'd think that's a not insignificant number. I can't believe.
No,
they're
that is by definition a mass shooting, and that is
Right.
a veteran who suffers from PTSD. And the better conversation would be, what do we do about guys who are suffering from PTSD, or what do we do about disgruntled employees, and why is the workplace so vulnerable all the time? Do you know what I mean? It's an amazing thing that if the guy's last name was Sadiq, or if the guy, you know what I mean, that
Right.
it would be everywhere, and the president would be sitting on that giant butt of his tweeting out that we have to ban Muslims.
So, yeah, he's
Every-
more concerned
you know what?
with the band.
This is why I say we're all black now, okay? Because every time something happens now with regard to guns and violence, or any violence in this country, I hold my breath the way every African American did and does. I hold my breath like every Arab in this country, like every Middle Easterner does. And I pray to God that, whoever it was that did this horrible butchery was not, from the Middle East and wasn't brown.
Right.